that time, my father was a farmer. During my childhood, I reckon before I was born hardly, he had a big farm. He inherited it from his father, and had a big store. And the Depression came, and he lost it all, because he had, you know how it is. And he lost his farm and his store. And so we had it hard from then on.
Every day I picked 300 pounds of cotton. And tobacco, I would grade tobacco. I'd do all that by myself to keep from hiring people so that we would have the money, you know, because a lot of times when you was farming like that, they had these little stores, and you have to get the money from there to take care of the house, you know. And then when harvest time, sometimes you don't have anything because you used it up, you know, in the during the year for food.
Turkey farm, chicken farm, and they brought feed in bags, and it was beautiful, about like your scarf. It was colored and all. And we'd go down there, and they'd give us these feed sacks, and my mother would tear the seams out of them and wash them and make our clothes, and they're beautiful.
There was a relief that would help people that, you know, they would send a truck out certain time a month, and they would have like cornmeal, flour with no baking powder in it. They had grapefruit and certain kind of fruits, and you would have to meet the truck that's coming from Georgetown to give relief to the people, you know, that needed it. And so we would have to go and meet the truck, and they would give you a bag of cornmeal, bag of flour, and I think they had rice at that time, yeah, some rice, and some pew lard. Didn't have no Crisco and stuff like that. So, but we made it.
One time too, I remember Mama, she had a lot of friends. They were all maiden ladies. I think all of their sweethearts had been killed in the First World War, and Mama was just lucky to find one that hadn't been killed. But anyway, at Christmas time they would send boxes, and we didn't have much. We had nothing really. Yeah. Wouldn't have had anything if they had not sent boxes. So Mama, I think she kind of overdid it in a way, but she'd open them, and we could each have one thing, and the rest of the things in the box she'd take around Merle's Inlet and give to people who had nothing at all. And I remember this one Christmas, she loved Blue Morning Glories, and she had been given, there was a Blue Morning Glory, a beautiful linen tablecloth with Blue Morning Glories on it. Well, anyway, she took it out to give it to this woman back there at Burgess. And when we pulled up in...
Floyd, wasn't it? Miss Floyd.
Miss Floyd. And when we pulled up in the yard, Miss Floyd was out there cooking her Christmas dinner on a little fire in the yard in a tin coffee can.
It was a big old two-story house, an awful looking place. And one time during the Depression, we needed a new roof. And my daddy didn't have money but for half of it, and he fixed half of it and left the other half like it was, and I was so embarrassed. But that was the way it was. He wouldn't, if you didn't have it, you don't, any money, you didn't have what you needed.
Daddy fished, and we ate out of the creek, but he was a good farmer. I mean, he really had a good farm every year. You know, all the vegetables, and we had fruit trees, we had pear trees, we had apple trees, we had grapevines, and still have some of that out there now. The one thing we remember very well is he had 4 peanut rows that went from like Oliver's Lodge down to this other end of that place, and Dorothy and I were out there hoeing. Now, I don't ever remember Helen doing any of this. I guess she was too young, I don't know. But we would hoe those peanuts in the heat. Oh, it was terrible.
It was just a real bad situation. People did not have any money. And he had 5 churches, and his salary was supposed to be $1,000 a year. And the first year he was here, he was paid $800 in actual cash money, but part of that was with produce, an open truck. And he went around, they drove that truck, and everybody gave him eggs, they gave him chickens, they gave him vegetables, canned vegetables and things of that kind. The people were farmers.
My daddy would plant cotton, and I think he would plant a little bit tobacco on one of the area. But, you know, it wasn't a big thing. After things had get so bad, my mother and I tell her that I would stop going to school. And I went to school till I was 8th grade.
Very hard to buy new clothes. Oftentimes, I had one pair of shoes most of the time. When they got bad soles, we put pasteboard inside the shoes. My mother made my clothes, and I was always happy to get a hand-me-down.
We were so poor, but we didn't know we were poor because everybody was poor. I do know that we were most fortunate because Daddy had land on the that was family property that he could grow things, so we never did lack for food or anything because we could always grow it out. And then Daddy fed the prisoners. See, he was in charge of seeing that the prisoners were fed. So the prisoners their meals were cooked along with ours, you know, all the peas and the rice and corn and cornbread and stuff. During the Depression, of course, that was Prohibition. And my father was a very colorful character. Everybody seemed to like him. He would just confiscate all those liquor stills, but he was very flamboyant with them. He would bring those liquor stills on cars and on barges back behind the big tune-on folk. But he'd call everybody in Georgetown to come look at the liquor stills because he'd put them on those old cars and ride them down Front Street.
If you couldn't get something at a church or other place that gave things away, you just went hungry. And I hate thinking about that even right now. It just makes you sort of sick. But one of the nicest things that's happened to me in a long time, I had in my grade a girl whose family farmed, and she didn't have a coat. She had a lot of sweaters and things, and she did well in school. She always was clean. She always came to school. It was just really good, because they started having school buses about that time. And one day, 20 years ago, I guess, I went in the post office in Winsboro, and there was this real good-looking lady down at the end of the room in an elegant outfit. And I didn't recognize her, and went on and did my business, and I started out, and she said, "Aren't you going to speak to me, Ashley?" And I went down and saw who it was, and I said, "Liza, you look wonderful." And she said her husband had worked for my father before he went into World War II. And Daddy said he was real smart. When he came out, the GI Bill made it possible for him to go to school, and he got a college degree.
and graduated in engineering.